Hi, this is the One Board Cabbie. Tonight I'm going to talk about a few Australians that I respect for their sportsmanship and for who they are and what they are. The first guy who I think was unjustifiedly black-banded from future Olympics. He won a silver medal in the 1968 Olympics at Mexico City. He's also part of the image for the Black Power salute with Smith and Carlos. And his name is Peter Norman. That guy had more respect for people, for his sport, and for good of mankind. And in my eyes, he got shafted by either the Olympics committee, the athletics committee, anybody. He should have went to future Olympics. Just because he supported him, it doesn't mean that he should be banned or ridiculed or whatever. Even though I knew about him before he died, I was sad to find out recently, though, that when Sydney had the 2000 Olympics, he wasn't invited. And I find that really, really disrespectful. He died in 2006 at the age of 64 from a heart attack. Seriously, this guy made Australia proud, and we didn't show it. And that makes me really sad. Another guy who also is Olympian, he won gold in the swimming. Did a 100-meter freestyle in the 1912 Stockholm Olympic Games. He's also the only gold medalist who died in World War I, which is sad. He only died a few months before the end of war. I think it was August 1918 on the Battle of Somme, which is all really sad because he had a heart of gold. He was from New South Wales. He couldn't even go to some Olympics because he couldn't afford to go, the previous ones, because those days they had to pay their own way unless they got some kind of funding. Not like the athletes today, nearly everything's paid for them. Anyway, he also brought surfing to Australia via an American Hawaiian guy named Duke. Now, I don't know how to say Duke's surname, so I'll leave it out. It was Cecil Healy. I hope I'm saying his name right. He got the Australian Olympic Committee, or powers to be, to protest the disqualification of the American swimming team for their lateness. He was such a great sportsmanship that they won their appeal against disqualifications, and the Americans were allowed to swim. He didn't think it was fair that he was going to win gold if the Americans were out of it, and then he would always have doubt in his mind for the rest of his life that he only won because the best swimmer in the world wasn't there, and that was Duke. Now, even though he won the 100 freestyle gold medalist, he didn't win against Duke. He came second. He won the silver. And Duke was so heard about what he did. So when he came to Australia, Duke showed Cecil Healy surfing and brought surfing to Australia. Next thing, Australia is a surfing nation. I think between his sportsmanship and loyalty to Australia and to his sport, This guy should be remembered and should be known around Australia also. The other one, I think most people would know to a point, is Edwin Flack. Now, he was the first Australian Olympian. He won in Athens gold in the 800 metres, gold in the 1500 metres. He played doubles in tennis and came third, got a bronze, but they didn't give out bronze medals those days. And he ran the marathon only because he was such a great sportsman that he decided to give it a go, even though he's never ran over 10 Ks in his life. He actually was winning until he collapsed 3 kilometers away from the finish line. I think that was heat exhaustion. Also because they used to give out wine those days. So he had no water to drink, so he collapsed. And apparently some passerby tried to pick him up and he punched him out because he was delirious, poor guy. He was popular in Athens and they nicknamed him Lion of Athens. That is such a great respect for anybody, I believe. Even though he was born in England, he came to Australia when he was 5 and his parents lived in Victoria. Now, those 3 Australians, in my eyes, are heroes and great sportsmanship. There's also, in the modern era, well, many years later, Sir Donald Bradman. He was a great sportsmanship. He was a great gentleman. I remember when he died and they had his funeral car drive along Green Hill Road to the Chiltern Cemetery for his funeral. And I was standing there and I was amazed how many people also were standing and throwing roses and flowers in front of the car and on the car. That man had a lot of respect and he was a great sportsman. I liked what he thinks of the sportsmen today, how he would be happy about them cheating in cricket. And everyone's talking about how the year ban was too heavy. I think the captain and vice captain should have been banned for life. Not the bowler. He was only doing what he was told. And he was his first game and stuff and he's very young. But however, the captain and the vice captain were both mature, long playing cricket players for Australia, and lack of sportsmanship should have got them banned for life. If I was on that committee, they would have been banned for life. And that's how tough I am, because Australia always brags about sportsmanship and then get these 2 idiots that fuck it up for everyone else and make us look like cheaters. So they should be banned for life. And since we're talking about war stuff, I have a lot of respect for the Anzacs in World War I and the Anzacs, well, they weren't called Anzacs, in the Boer War. I think what they had to do for the country of England in the Boer War and then got penalised for it, as everyone knows, Breaker Morant, and they shot him and another fella, saying they took matters in their own hands. But they swore black and blue they were following orders, and I actually believe them over the British. British don't have a very good track record. I also think the Anzacs in World War I were great soldiers. I've heard some bad things about them, I've heard some good things about them. However, it's war, and everything's fair in love and war. I think the way they were treated in the first half of the war by the British was disgusting as cannon fodder, but their mateship and their fighting ability in the end when they got to understand how to actually fight and win a war. And I believe they won the war for all the Allies, with the help of Canada and a few other countries in between. But once the Australians had their own command, they were actually a good fighting force. I've got nothing against all the other countries that fought on the same side. They are fighting for their own country, and they all did a brilliant job. However, it's really, really sad that all these men had to die over something so silly. But it made our nation the best nation and recognised nation in the world. If I had a choice today, I would never let them go to World War One. We lost a lot of great men, lost a lot of great guys with skill. I think Australia today, if those men hadn't died or been slaughtered, would have been the best nation on earth. That's my firm belief. I'm going to take a minute's silence off air. I remember the fallen. Not only Australian fallen, but the world's fallen. They fought for what they believed in. And even though they fought for what they believed in and what they were doing and for their mates, it's still a sad loss. It never should have happened. My respect to the Anzacs and to everyone else around the world. Peace.